You get a lot of that camera stuff going on with the DJs.
What you get in this room is people do still come and dance.
Yeah.
Sometimes they want to take a moment, but like I think you're getting less and less. Like people just don't want to be standing with their phone out the entire time. They want to get the drop, they want to get a moment, and actually then they want to enjoy it. And this room, even when we refurbished it at the beginning of this year, like it doesn't have a bar in it. It's like
This is the place to come and dance and listen to
built
music,
for
isn't it?
dancing and listening to music.
This room is about being in the sound,
in the
being
music.
completely immersed in the sound, surrounded by your people in an intimate environment where you can practically touch the DJ.
Yeah.
And that's why DJs love playing here.
Welcome back to the Global Come and Dance Hall of Fame episode with myself, Clara Griffin, and Big Al. Today we celebrate the perfect synergy between legendary London institution and executive powerhouse that drove it forward. Ministry of Sound is the ultimate global dance brand built on the foundations of the world's greatest sound system, adding legendary compilations that soundtrack generations. Welcome Lohan Presencer and Caitlin McAllister into the Global Come and Dance Hall of Fame.
Welcome, guys.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Lovely meeting you both. We would love to know from the both of you, what's your history with music and how did you come into working with Ministry of Sound?
Do you want to go first?
I can go first because yours is more impressive. So, I mean, I've worked at Ministry for just over 11 years now. Prior to that, I was in the live events sector. So I studied events at university, worked in live events. And then when I first came to Ministry, I worked in a project management role. So very different to what I do now. So I would say my journey's been very different to Lohan's. The club's actually probably, and the business has taught me more about music than the other way around. And it's opened up me to like so many different genres and artists. So yeah, a bit of a different entry for me.
Lohan?
Yeah, I've got to try and tell the story succinctly, but I'm very old.
Probably not as old as me, though.
Not far off, but no, I came from a musical family, and I was starting to make electronic music in the late 80s, and then I went to university just as things were exploding in the UK dance scene, and I got involved in student entertainment, and I became entertainment officer of my student union, and then I started promoting raves down on the south coast, but I wanted to work in the music business, so I then went to work for a small label and independent record promotions business, working some early underground dance records. And then I went to work for a big record company. I went to work for Warner's in the mid-90s and ultimately ended up running their strategic marketing business and being in charge, amongst other things, of compilation albums. And through that, I met James Palumbo, who was one of the co-founders of Ministry of Sound, and he asked me to come and run the record business here.
Brilliant.
Late 90s. So I've been here for 27 years.
And how long has the club been open?
It's been open for 35 years this year.
35 years.
Yeah, it's our 35th
It's an institution, it really is, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And this actual club, it has some history of its own, doesn't it? In terms of like where the name came from and kind of how it kind of started as well.
Well, it was Justin Berkman who had the original idea. He was a DJ and he'd been in New York and he'd been to legendary clubs like the Paradise Garage and had this vision for doing that back in London. He came back, he met James, who was one of the original investors, and articulated that vision. And James and his friend Humphrey backed them. And so they drove around London for 6 months trying to find a suitable place and found this disused bus garage, did a deal with the landlord, and then spent all of the money on the sound system. And there were barely any toilets here. They were like plastic troughs.
Yeah, I've seen photos of them.
There was no alcohol license when this place opened.
Yeah,
it was just purely about the sound. And then Justin marketed it, if you could call it that, by putting flyers out to all of his mates. And you only got to know about it if you knew. So you had to be in the know. And so it was this sort of coolest underground launch. And he brought over those legendary DJs, the Larry Levans, the Tony Humphreys, who he'd met while he was in New York, and got them to play here. And that was the first time that people had brought legendary US house music here. And this room that we're sitting in, the box, was designed to be the perfect environment to listen to house music. So there are no even walls, so that we create no discordant sound waves, doesn't bounce, and you have this uniform sound thing in here with this monstrous sound system, and the original mixers, the rotary mixers, and it was just the most unbelievable experience. But it was bare. This was proper warehouse clubbing, but grown up.
So Justin Bertman was an integral part of the whole beginning of Ministry of Sound.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I wondered why I always see him playing on those early gigs. I remember coming here when there was no alcohol. I remember coming. I think I did a New Year's Eve once here. Long time ago now.
They had the license. So when did they bring the license in for the alcohol?
It was a
couple of years.
About a couple of years.
Yeah.
They operated under a ballroom dancing license. I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and famously, I mean, the Colombo thing. He's a lord, isn't he? And
he is now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was he not at the time?
No. His father.
His father was. That's right. Yeah.
His James's peerage came later and was to do with a lot of the work that he did in entertainment and in business and in politics.
Does he have much input now? The son?
He's still around. Absolutely.
He's still around.
Yeah.
Still his business.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And when you came in with the sort of, obviously there's many different anthems and so forth, what made you decide what you were to include into the compilations, basically?
Well, I mean, originally, the compilation business was sort of, there were other people who had done it beforehand.
It was booming at that time.
At the beginning, Pete Tong, I think, had done the original dance music compilation back in the 80s when he was at London. And there were a few albums that were coming out, but they're all quite niche and quite underground. And it was 93, I think, Ministry put their first album out, Sessions 1, which was mixed by Tony Humphreys, who was a resident here at the time. And that record sold about 20,000 copies. So they did Sessions 2, which was Paul Oakenfold. And then at the end of 95, they put out an album of the biggest dance tracks of the year, which they called The Annual. And that sold about 100,000 copies, which was a lot. That was a lot of records. And they had the balls to TV advertise it and make a really cool ad and spend money on the packaging. These were not just 2 CDs. They were things that you wanted. They were beautiful packages. And you were taking the nightclub home in a box. But it was the Annual 2 that changed everything, because it had a couple of pretty unique tracks, which accidentally, when I was at Warner's, I'd licensed to them. And you could only get on that album. And the Annual 2, which was mixed by Pete and Boy George, went on to sell 1 million copies.
That was the numbers started changing completely.
And then everybody in the record industry started to take notice of Ministry of Sound and say, who the F are they? And where did this come from? And why aren't we doing that? So
and everyone did after that, didn't they?
Then a lot of other people piled in,
including myself.
Ministry was always ahead of the game.
So at that time you put out the compilations, were you signing tracks and stuff like that as well? Was that part of the business at that time?
It became out of necessity. There was a small label here. Originally there was a label called Open Records, which was putting out underground house music. And then they launched a label called Sound of Ministry. You see what they did. And that was putting out some more commercial house records. But because the major record labels had noticed how well Ministry were doing, they stopped licensing tracks to them.
Oh, really?
Because they didn't want them to be successful.
Didn't want the competition.
Right.
And so they started trying to do deals with Ministry. And so then Ministry went round and started doing deals with some of the A&R guys who were signing these records in major record companies, but were not really taken seriously. Dave being
one of them.
One of them.
Yeah.
It was not, having a big dance record in a major label was not impressive. They were concerned about breaking global artists, and they didn't see dance music as a genre that would generate global artists.
How wrong were they?
How wrong were they? And so Ministry went to talk to some of these A&R guys, one of them being Simon Dunmore, who was running AM/PM, and he left and set up a label called Defected.
Yeah.
There was a chap called Shabs Jobin Putra who ran an underground urban marketing business called Media Village, and he set up a label called Relentless Records. And then there was Nick Hawkes, who was one of the co-founders of XL Recordings and Dave's
and then
partner
went on to do Positiva.
Positiva. And Nick left EMI Positiva and he set up a label called Incentive. So you had Defected, Relentless, Incentive.
Yeah.
There was a lot of clues in the names of their labels
Yeah.
as to why they jumped ship from the big record industry and come with a bunch of upstart nightclub people like us.
Yeah.
And then we had our own label, which we called Data Records, which was run by an A&R guy called Ben Cook. And then we had, at Ministry of Sound, the biggest hit. Well, first hit we had was Brandon Block did a record.
Oh, really? Brandon?
Blockster.
Well, okay, yeah, I remember. Yeah, I do remember.
Yeah, I remember
He didn't
Blockster.
do a lot, Brandon, in that, but that was one of the few that he did.
That was a top 10 record, which Ministry had. And then I think it was either the second or third record after that was ATB, 9pm Till I Come, which went straight to #1 and sold to...
That was in 99, right?
It was 99.
Yeah,
around
I
the time.
remember that tune.
It was right as I joined.
Yeah,
It was one of the biggest anthems, I think, that summer.
And then we just had a run of hits. We had ATB and then Relentless signed Artful Dodger and Craig David Rewind.
Oh, yeah.
Brilliant
Yeah,
track.
Simon Dunmore had Soul Searcher, You Should Be Dancing.
Right.
No, it wasn't. It was Soul Searcher, I Can't Get Enough.
Oh, yeah.
And then he had Roger Sanchez, and it was just hit after hit after hit. And all of a sudden, Ministry of Sound as a group had become the biggest generator of dance hits in the UK.
Yeah.
And they were all chasing us in terms of repertoire. And that way, we could control what was going on the compilation albums. And we would build compilation albums around these hit records. So when Rewind came out, we put out a compilation called Rewind.
I see.
And so what we would do, what we became good at doing, is because we had the nightclub and the records were being played here first, we would spot where dance music was going. And every 6 to 9 to 12 months,
There was a slightly different edge
there
on
was
it,
a
wasn't
new
there?
edge, there was a new genre, there was a new subgenre. And nobody could keep up because we heard it here on these decks. And we would hear the hits and we would sign the hits. And I think Dave told me a story earlier about he first played BBE in this club. And Paul Oakenfold first played his remix of U2 Even Better, The Real Thing, in this club. So all of those records got played for the first time here. And so our A&R guys heard them where they could, they signed them, and then we released compilations off the back of them.
And we were talking before we started the interview. Tell us how many #1s.
Yeah, we had 21 UK #1 singles.
That's not bad going, isn't it?
That's
It's
really
not bad going at all.
And a
Right.
few others in the single figures of the charts as well. Yeah.
That is impressive.
And with this legendary club, what have been like some of the biggest nights that they've had here?
Oh,
So many.
So many, right?
So difficult to say, really. And you know, you kindly sent me that question beforehand, and I can't think of an answer. But literally everybody who's anybody
Has played
played
here.
here.
Has played here.
Yeah.
and people have got their own memories. So it would be wrong of me to suggest any one that stood out from any other. Have you got?
Well, it's leading on to that question.
Yeah.
Who's your favourite DJ and who's your favourite DJ?
Oh, I'm not doing that.
I mean,
I'm not doing that.
yeah, I definitely don't have a favourite. I think it's very.
But there must be people that you go, I want to go and listen to it.
I think it's very dependent. Like you know, like one of my favourite nights we had recently here was Armin van Helden, and it was great to have him back in the club. The energy was amazing, but like the atmosphere was great. Loads of people who hadn't been to Ministry in ages came down. It felt like it had that real community vibe.
Reunion-y kind of
you could kind of
feeling.
like walk around the club and bump into people
That you knew.
which was really nice. And I think like Masters at Work recently had that type of vibe as well.
Yeah, you had Hard Times there, didn't you? The other week, yeah.
But then we also recently did a show with TD, and he did like a 10 p.m. till 9 a.m. He played all night long.
The long set.
And like at 9 a.m. the club was still packed, and they were like, "Can we keep going?"
Yeah.
And I think those are the kind of I think it's sometimes less about the DJ and more about those moments that they then create. And recently that's something that really stood out to me was at 9 a.m. this room was full of 20-year-olds dancing, not with their phones out dancing, and they were like, "Can we get another hour?" And we were like, "Oh, we've got a 24-hour license," so we're like, "Go for it." If people are here and they're still dancing and they're having fun,
we're not going to close.
Why not?
This is like a proper nightclub, is it? I mean, did you get a lot of that camera stuff going on with the DJs?
It's a mixed bag, and I think the thing is we exist in a world that requires promotion and content online, and love it or hate it.
You don't want to take that away. You still want that.
We need to tell people what we're doing. We need to give people a taste of the experience. But I think it's a taste, and I think what you get in this room is people do still come and dance. Sometimes they want to take a moment, but I think you're getting less and less. Also, I think people generally in dance music culture and in clubs, people just don't want to be standing with their phone out the entire time. They want to get the drop, they want to get a moment, and actually then they want to enjoy it. And this room, even when we refurbished it at the beginning of this year, it doesn't have a bar in it. This
is the place to come and dance and listen to
built
music,
for dancing and listening to music.
Not taking away from those huge events that you see now, the big festivals, the massive clubs in Ibiza, where you've got that enormous stage production and really set piece lighting design and everything, and the DJ is up on a pedestal way above the audience, and you've got 10,000 people, and they're all
up to 17 now at Universe,
and they're trying to create a spectacle, and of course you want to capture that as much as you can on a tiny screen. This isn't about that. This room is about being in the sound,
in the
being
music.
completely immersed in the sound, surrounded by your people in an intimate environment where you can practically touch the DJ. And that's why DJs love playing here.
They're a part of the feeling.
A DJ can actually look and see into people. They can see if people are dancing, the joy. They can actually connect. And I think when we redid the room, we lowered the DJ booth. From an artist's point of view, that's some of the best feedback we've had. Is they feel like they are in the moment and that they are surrounded. And I think, like you say, there's a place for everything, but the beauty and the kind of USP of Ministry is that this room is, small. And I always think, would you rather see an intimate gig with Beyonce, or would you rather go to the O2? Would you rather be up close and personal? So I think that's what you get here.
You think about the time when this club launched in the early 90s, and we were in the pits of a recession in this country. There was a lot of tension. I mean, there's a lot of tension now, but it was of its time, and this was a place where young Londoners and young
come
people,
and let their hair down.
They come and let their hair down. They come and escape. It was affordable, and you come in here and you lose yourself in the music, and you'd hear the greatest DJs in the world, but you could practically touch them.
It was a great time for me, that era, because my time was the late 80s to the mid 90s. And, I was doing clubs all over London. I was, so for me, it's fond memories. But I do get what you're saying, that the life wasn't so easy around that time for a lot of people.
I also think it's important to note the other special bit about our club, I feel like, is yes, you can come and see all these amazing headline DJs, but we have 4 rooms, so you can also come here and you can find new music. You can see who's coming up. You see an artist, sometimes the support is just as amazing. You go into the 103 and you hear something you haven't heard before. So I think there's seeing your favourite DJ, but there's also a level of going to clubs should be also about discovering new music and hearing new tracks and finding the next thing. And I think that's something that we used to do really, really well and are circling back to try and do more of now.
I mean, we're a platform for that new talent to come through.
You've got to support it.
Really proud.
Well, there won't be no new ones unless you do let them have a go. And
it's amazing how many people have come up to me. Oh, you run Ministry of Sound, do you? Do you know DJ Blank? Because they played there on August the 3rd.
How many other DJs did as well?
1996. No, but it's great because a lot of people have come through the doors and they've made their careers.
You mentioned Brandon Block earlier. We recently did a podcast with Brandon, and I'm always an advocate. I gave him his first DJing job in Broadway Boulevard back in the day, and without letting someone have a go, there is no new talent. You've got the headliners, but you've also got the people warming them up.
You also get the full circle moments. Like Sam Devine had a headline show here on Saturday night, sold out. And then she did a really nice post that took her all the way back to history when she was like an original resident. So, to see that journey of people like starting off as a residency, but then selling out Ministry of Sound as a headliner, like it's nice to see those come.
What are the numbers for Ministry? What is a sellout in Ministry these days?
It's like 2,000, 2,500.
Yeah, it's a large club. Because London doesn't have a lot of large clubs, does it? A lot of them are shut, aren't they?
Yeah, I would say that there's still a decent amount. Like if you look at, and actually I think the scene is stronger than people make out. Like you've got Fabric, you've got Coco that are similar sizes to us. There's an LWE about to open a new 7,000 capacity club. Wow. You've got your drum sheds for your massive things.
That's the massive ones.
Magazine, which is a Broadwick event, they've started doing some open air stuff. Like I think, and then you've got the Cause. Peckham Palace just reopened. Like that's really nice. That's got that nice capacity level. So I think there's actually like a good variety because also artists need to be in a city and they need to start at a 300 cap club and they need to grow. They need to go through 300, 5 to 7 to 8 to a Ministry, to an Outernet, to a magazine, to a drum shed, to a festival. Yeah. Like an artist needs to have that journey. So I think the city's actually built reasonably well for that now.
And are you doing the daytime stuff like a lot of the other people? You're doing a show during the day up to early evening, then reopening later on.
We're doing a lot of that now. When day parties first really started to have their moment, we were like, let's do loads of day parties, and we didn't do it well. So
you've got to find the right.
You've got to find the right
promoters, the right.
And I feel like we've found our way with it this year. I would say 90% of Saturdays from May through to October, we're doing a Saturday day show and then a Saturday night, and we literally run the day till 10 o'clock, 30 minutes switch, and then reopen
30 minutes. That's a quick time.
We're very lucky. We've got
the outdoor space
courtyard, which,
so you can clear out
where we can play music, and we've spent quite a lot of money doing that up and making that a great place to go and dance and have fun as well. And so it's become effectively another room, a fifth room in the venue.
It's great.
It's always nice to have an outdoor area.
We can get 500. And also it allows us to do, like the other week, when the weather was amazing, we were like, let's just do something on Thursday night. We did free tickets. Just sign up, come along, weather's out, we got some food down, like a lot of the DJs that play at the club just came along. It was a bit like the DJs just did it for the fun of it.
Yeah, I know.
And we opened for 4 hours and it was really nice.
That's great.
So we did that with 4 days notice. As soon as we saw it was going to be a nice night.
So we ask different questions. I think the question for the music should be relevant to Ministry of Sound. Choose some of the great tracks that Ministry of Sound have put out.
Oh gosh, that's a Lohan question.
Oh God.
I mean, you're 21 number one.
It's not just about the number ones. I mean, I think what was the interesting journey about the record company is we went from those one-off records to dabbling with artist development and really wanting to be a label that could take an artist from a one-off record and turn them into a global superstar, which was tough because often what would happen in electronic music is a DJ would come up with an underground dance track that was 12 minutes long, and then we would need to turn it into a radio record, which involved getting the right edit, putting the right vocal on top, and we were quite good at doing that, but it didn't mean that that DJ or producer had the ability to come up with a whole compendium of work. And so often we were just limited to that. And the second track that would come was often a watered down version of the first track. And then that would be the end. And that was part of the joy of dance music. It was constantly reinventing itself, but you rarely got production talent that could continue to deliver. So then when we were trying to sign artists, we were trying to compete with the majors. But then I got a really great A&R team in David Dollymore and Dipesh Palmer, who work really closely together in finding and developing talent and honing their production skills. And from about the late noughties, we started to move gradually into artists, and we signed an artist called Example. So not traditionally electronic music, but came from electronic. He was a rapper, and we had a small hit, then we had a bigger hit, then we had a massive hit, and then we sold some albums. And then we put out the second album, and then he had Change the Way You Kiss Me, which went to #1, and we sold a lot of albums, and we did 3 albums with Elliot. As a result of that, a lot of other things were happening at the same time. We signed a record by DJ Fresh called Gold Dust, which again we put Miss Dynamite on the top and it was an underground drum and bass record, but we put Miss Dynamite on the top. It was a brilliant record. We made a fantastic video for it of girls skipping in New York, doing the double Dutch stuff. That became a sort of underground hit, but then we had the first ever drum and bass #1, I think that's true, with Louder, which is a record that he did that got licensed for a Lucasade advert, and had some skaters in New York, and then so we had a whole run of hits with Dan, who was DJ Fresh, which was great. We also had at that time through a label we'd started called Levels, which was with Twin B and his partner Richard Antwi, who sadly passed away now, but they had a label called Levels, and their first signing was Wretch 3-2. And Wretch did a collab with Example, and so we started to have this family of acts that were working together and helping each other. And then really at the end of that period, we then took a really massive jump outside of our comfort zone, and we signed a band called London Grammar.
Oh, I love London Grammar.
Which
beautiful
was
voice.
Not really traditional electronic music, but beautiful, chilled out, ambient songs with Hannah's amazing voice and Dan and Dot's production, and brilliant musicianship, and that album sold millions of copies and became a massive hit all over the world. So we did have the experience of becoming a proper artist development label, so that was quite fun.
That's good. Am I correct in saying that at one point you actually bought Hed Kandi?
Oh yes, yeah.
I mean, we're doing Mark this afternoon. He is coming in to
oh, fantastic. No, well, Mark's full of stories. Well, I met Mark actually...
Because those compilations did very well.
They did really well. I met Mark before he even launched Hed Kandi when I was back at Warner's. And at Warner's I did a deal to help them distribute their albums. And then when I came to Ministry, I moved them over here, and Mark had Hed Kandi was a middle of the night, he'll tell you his story, but it was a middle of the night radio show, and then he started putting out compilations, and they were beautiful. And
the artwork was particularly good, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was done by Jason, and the packaging was lovely. And we used to describe them as, they were the VH1 to our MTV.
Right.
Which are 2 brands that nobody who's watching this podcast
probably heard of,
yeah. But they were grown-up house music, and they were not mixed, so they were great DJ tools as well. And anyway, Mark left Hed Kandi. It was part of Jazz FM, which became part of the Guardian Media Group, and it wasn't really loved. And then I went to see the guy who ran the Guardian and did a deal with them, and I bought it and brought it in here. And then over the years, Mark has come back, and
he's back now with you again.
He's back now with us, and he runs Hed Kandi events all over the world. And it's great to be back together again. Yeah.
And some of his DJs are some of my original DJs from the early days. Andy Norman, for instance, who was going out with them. John Jones.
Yeah, John
Jones. All them guys are all sort of part of our team anyway.
Yeah.
And then they sort of went down the Hed Kandi route, because we're all from Ealing, you see, all those all around that sort of west side.
I mean, the amazing thing about Hed Kandi is when we first bought it, we were like, well, we're buying a record company. And we went, oh yeah, there's also an events business. Okay, well, how many events does it do? It does nearly 100 a month. What? He was
doing them all over the place, wasn't he? I mean, even now you're still doing it all over, going around the world with it and everything, aren't you? Yeah. And that's just one part of this business, isn't it?
Yeah, I think a lot of, we did a deal with Global Underground, that became part of the business. We bought we bought a brand called Euphoria. I think there were pockets of dance music that and brands and labels that had come up and then reached the ceiling as to where they would reach, and then they wanted to come, like those A&R guys did originally, to people who really understood the genre, people who really understood the scene. And so we were a natural destination, but partly because we were underpinned by the money that we were making from the record business and from the nightclub, but also we had a real understanding culturally of what they were trying to achieve.
It's slightly changed now, isn't it? Where the music side is a slightly separate entity from the club. So there's the club and the events, which is you guys, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then there's also the music side, which is a different company now, isn't it?
I think what happened about 10 years ago is obviously we navigated the transition from physical formats to digital downloads, and we did that very well. And then when streaming came along, it represented a real challenge to us as a UK-based business, where streaming was a global platform, and also the way that music was monetized. We used to sell bits of plastic and then downloads, and then we were going into micro payments for listening to songs once or twice. Yeah. And it favored companies that had large catalogs and had global platforms. And we took the view, it was 10 years ago this year, that actually the interests of the record company were best served by being part of one of those big global behemoths. And so after a bit of dancing, we did a deal with Sony, and Sony took over the record company. Yeah,
we recently filmed at Gin Factory, which is the label side of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's interesting though that how things change and move around in this industry, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, we're trying to tell the story of not just the DJs, we're trying to tell the story of the whole industry. Recently
Culture.
we were at the IMS and we were interviewing people that did management, did all different parts. This is the first nightclub that we're actually giving an award to. So we're trying to give the audience a real how this whole industry works. That's what we're trying to do with this.
Talking about industry and club culture, what have been the biggest challenges in Ministry of Sound?
What do you think are the best answers to that? Leaky roofs.
If you asked me yesterday, it would have been the water pouring through our ceiling. I think London specific. We touched on it earlier. Contrary to what everyone says, there's a lot of clubs, and there's a growing amount of festivals in London as well. And the fight to secure the best talent is challenging. And as people secure Ibiza residencies, and then they're out for like a whole season, and the seasons got longer, and the festival scene grows and grows, and there's exclusives that is a real challenge. I think in terms of the club, there's definitely enough to go round, and
there's a lot of talent out there.
Yeah, but also being a promoter is really hard now. There's a lot more risk involved. There's way less sure things, so there's less promoters because people don't want to take that on. So the pool is smaller. So I would say that's it. Also the late buy culture that has changed.
And
there's so much choice that people.
And the DJ prices, obviously, it's these superstar DJs, so they can command a lot of money. That obviously.
Yeah, some of the prices are
ridiculous.
Are nuts.
Yeah. At that point, you just can't book them, can you? There is a point. I've been a promoter, so I think you can't make no money out of that person. It's impossible.
Yeah.
So
and I think that's why you need venues of all different sizes, because there's DJs that just we just can't do in a venue that's our capacity. They've got to go to a drum sheds. That's the only way it makes sense. But you will find some DJs who do it for the love and the experience, and they can still do a sold out drum shed show, but they want to do something here because they want that intimate. They want to do something for themselves. Yeah. So it's a mixed bag. I would say that's the biggest challenge. Although, there's some great we've got some great stuff coming up. We've had some really good shows, especially since we redid the box at the beginning of this year. So if you asked our programming team, they would say it's like a constant game of Tetris.
I think on a slightly more boring and technical level, one of the biggest challenges that I've had to deal with over the last 20 years is property development.
Yeah.
And London is a constantly changing city. When we first came,
They look at this as millions of
they
pounds
just
worth of
see
houses,
money.
do they?
They just see money, and I understand that. But when we came to Elephant and Castle, it was a part of London that was forgotten. It was a part that people.
It was.
didn't
I mean,
come
I
to.
remember coming here back in the early days and thinking, "Oh, elephant."
It was a bit tasty.
But
wasn't
what I
it?
realised driving here today is how close you are to centre. I mean,
Yeah.
I've forgotten how close you
I mean,
actually
it's
were.
bad.
One of our
I always-
secret, one of
yeah.
our secret weapons.
Yeah.
that.
You know, I always say
Yeah.
it's, it's not as far, Elephant Castle, it's not as far as you think.
No,
Yeah.
it's just
People
across the
are
water.
always
That's
early to
basically it,
meetings
isn't
here.
it?
You know, we're in zone 1, we're on the tube, we've
Yeah.
got all of those benefits, and I think that's the original founders really sussed that out. And so
Yeah.
having a club of this size and capacity in the centre of London is a unique advantage for us.
Yeah.
But it's also, as London has changed and morphed and become a place where developers come to make money and people want to buy houses and people want to build offices, it's become quite difficult for us. And
Well, the housing, they've got deep pockets, haven't they?
they do, and we've had to
Fight them off.
fight them off and protect ourselves. And we were actually the initial test case of agent of change, which is a new planning law that's been adopted in London, which means that if you were there first, you get protection from the new uses.
Well, this is
I'm
culture.
glad that's happened.
Yeah. This is culture, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, whatever you say. I mean, this music's been around for a very long time, nearly 40 years now.
Yeah.
And if we started losing places like this, it would be very bad for the culture.
Well, you see. I mean, London. When we were growing up, you know, London was an all-night city, and there
Yeah.
were places you knew where to go.
Yeah.
It's not like that anymore.
No.
A late night London is quiet, and pubs are struggling. Hospitality businesses
They're shutting
generally
down
are struggling to
unbelievably.
make ends meet and open every night a week. And you know, a lot of them will close at 9, 10 o'clock because there just isn't the passing trade, and so.
There's not the trade and the costs.
And the
cost
costs.
to operate
Yeah.
are.
Our
Well, they're all finding it very difficult at the moment
our,
with the government
rent,
and all the
our
rest of it.
business
Yeah.
rates, our wage bills, our utility costs. You know, we're like any other hospitality business. We're having to fight those battles all the time, as well as someone wants to build a great big block of flats next to us.
Yeah.
And what are the people who are going to move in there going to say about having a noisy nightclub that's operating 24 hours a day next door to them? So we've had to work very closely with local property developers and with the local council and with the Greater London Authority and with the police and with licensing, which for music and nightclub people were not the reasons that we got into this in the first place, but you
place,
become technically and legally very knowledgeable
Yeah.
about those
Almost a
aspects of
politician
running a
there.
business. Yeah, not quite.
Not quite.
No. I wouldn't choose any one party.
Yeah, I've heard that actually, where people have moved to a particular area because they love the culture around there, they love the clubs, and then obviously they get older and have children, and then they start complaining about the
Yeah,
noise levels.
yeah.
It's actually quite
Well,
a
it's like-
common situation
Yeah.
in so many cities.
It's late night culture is really struggling.
Yeah.
And it's up to us to speak out because we're a bigger part of it and help. And we all actually, a lot of venues now work together.
Yeah, we all speak to one another, and I think it's.
And we offer support and advice and help. And the work that Music Venue Trust have done in saving and stopping the decline and the closure of music venues around the country has been really important. And we've worked very closely with them since they sprung into life about 15 years ago.
Yeah. Well, that obviously helps, doesn't it? We got other people that's outspoken about, you know, saving our culture.
I think it's nightlife needs to work as an ecosystem. We all want each other to work and survive, and you need bars and clubs to feed one another, and you need late night eating, and like it all needs to work together. Like you said, to make London feel like that, and the transport needs to work, and people need to feel safe, and like it's all these things to make London have that 24-hour city piece where you can leave one place and pop into another and go from here to here to here, and that part just isn't the same as it used to be.
Okay. So the future, what's the future plan to Ministry of Sound?
Your bag. That's not mine.
I mean, I think we've done a load of work to the club over the past couple of years, both like the physical club, our marketing, our creative, the talent, and it's our 35th anniversary this
Big party.
year. So yeah, so we
We
are.
should mention the ministry.
Yes.
We haven't mentioned the ministry.
So we're doing a massive birthday weekend in October for that. Lineup not announced yet, but it is.
I should imagine it'd be pretty amazing.
It is pretty mega.
Yeah.
So that's one to watch out for. We've restarted our global tourings. We've been doing shows in Miami, Dubai, Helsinki, Qatar. We're back in Ibiza for the first time in 10 years.
But funny enough, you say Ibiza. I remember back in you had that Ministry of Sound hotel, which is now the O Beach Hotel.
Yes, it is,
I was the first one in Ibiza doing parties. But Ministry came out, I think, 94, wasn't it? That you started doing your own parties in Ibiza.
Yeah,
What was the gentleman that used to be out there running them for?
there was
is he no longer with us?
Ian Mackley and Ian Bushell used to run them out there. But I remember when I joined in '99, and I joined just before Christmas. Everyone was going, "You've got to come to Ibiza and see what we do there. You've got to see what we do there," because they were doing Fridays at Pasha, which was the night on the island. And I remember getting off the plane, and just everywhere you went, there was Ministry logo, Pasha logo next to each other, and these huge 96 sheet billboards and everything. It was.
As soon as you get into the airport, you're bombarded by it. Yeah, you're bombarded by it, aren't you? Yeah.
So,
I mean, that island, the nightclubs are ruled, aren't they? Because it's got 5 mega nightclubs on.
Yeah,
it's good to be back.
It's good to be back, but we're doing our show at 5 to 8,
which is a great venue, I must say.
Amazing.
I mean, it's the old zoo.
It's the old zoo project.
But he's done a really good job.
They've done such a good job. I love the guys.
Everyone likes
Pikes.
that venue. Everybody likes that venue.
It's so nice because it's like it's unique, and I think that's what they do well at Pikes. Like they find things that are unique to the island. It's
obviously you're working with Andy, yeah.
Yeah, and you can go that kind of like early evening vibe, and you can have the outdoor piece, and then you can build up. But then they take it inside. So we're doing like a Ministry of Sound show. During the kind of late, early evening through to 11, and then we're doing an Urge show inside the club, which is our new tech house night. So we're also able to bring like 2 different elements of Ministry, and I think they've nailed it with that venue. When I went last year, I was like,
everybody talks about it. Obviously the Clockwork Orange boys do a great weekend over there, and that is one of their best. And
we want to pick venues that feel like a good representation of what we do, and like you get that. You can't take the box to other clubs, but you can take the spirit and the essence of Ministry, and you can make sure you pick places that feel aligned with that. So we've got a whole load of shows coming up. Ibiza just being one of them. Nearly 10 years ago, we launched the Ministry, which is our workspace and members club, which has been hugely successful. That's like dream business. I love that space. I always feel like it's got all the best bits of Ministry, but it's just like a bit more grown up.
Okay,
a bit. It's like it's like the less rough and ready version, but it's still got all the character of Ministry of Sound.
Amazing businesses in that building as well.
Yeah,
and it's great to be able to provide a home for the next generation of really interesting, creative and tech-based companies that are coming up, and make it fun.
Yeah, and the 2 businesses, they feel like a nightclub and a workspace. Like, okay, but actually it's 3 minutes walk from here. There's lots of crossover with certain elements, and the people who used to come to Ministry now have businesses, and so it's not forced. It all feels quite. I mean, I hate this word, but it all feels quite organic. So hopefully a second one of them on the cards for the future as well. We've brought back our product. We're doing some great new merchandise. We've got some super exciting collabs launching in September and October of this year. So yeah, there's some other things we're working on that are bubbling away in the background
we can't tell
as well. But we're busy.
Yeah.
We're busy.
Yeah, well, I didn't expect anything other than that, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, how dare any of us ever be bored?
So the whole reason for us being here today is to bring Ministry of Sound into the Global Club and Dance Hall of Fame.
Wow.
And you're our first club, which I'm pleased to give this
an
award
honour.
to you guys. And we will do a very large one that you can put up in the club for, for you guys.
Love it.
But this is what we give you today. Guys,
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Brilliant. Don't get your fingerprints.
Oh, don't get my fingerprints on. This will now be someone's job to polish this every morning, you do
You need
realise.
to put a big chain on it. And
I could just wear it.
Yeah, you wear it. Snoop Doggy style.
Yeah. I think people will really enjoy that. That would be great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. So that's all from us at the Global Club and Dance Hall of Fame podcast. Remember to like, subscribe, and to follow us on all of our platforms. See you soon.